Hey everyone, let's talk about trust, right? Um, Trust is a very interesting topic that I want to talk about because everyone has a family, everyone has friends, and you expect yourself to trust them, right? Because you know they're your friends and your family, right? And I think that's very reasonable, right? But from my understanding, there's a lot of people out there that do not have a lot of like real trust with their friends and family because, well, they are not very good at screening people, and probably asking yourself, why do I need to screen my own family members? Right? You know, it should not just be your friends, whatever. No, it should be your family members as well too. There's a lot of family members that I have, whatever, right? And some of them are good, and some of them are bad, right? And I have some family members, specifically, a father and a sister, right, that I'm not exactly particularly very fond of, right? And I'm not gonna get emotional or anything like that, whatever. I just wanted to have a conversation about this, right? And about anyone who could be going through something similar, right? Would I expect that there's someone else out there like that, where you can't, trust your family members, right? Or friends, right? Because some friends could be family, whatever, and, I'm not going to twist it up, whatever, right? But let's just talk about family first, and I'll get into friends later, right? So, there are some family members, whatever, right, that are to your detriment as a person, They are completely detriment to your person, as you as a person, right? And I don't think I don't think you should waste your time on things like, oh, just because I have so much time with them, whatever, right, should justify the way you've been being treated, right? And I think from my experience from other friends dealing with family members that are awful. Let's be honest, right? They don't treat them as people. They treat them as things. They treat them as a means to an end, right? And I am so against that, right? I'm so against that type of behavior, right? Because it makes people's lives not. It's like you're not living to the fullest because you're putting up with stuff. You're putting up stuff that could have been resolved, and some of the stuff that you're facing, whatever, is how do I say this? Socially or societally, whatever, right? If they were to do the same behavior they were doing in closed doors, outdoors, or whatever, in the public, whatever, they'd be shamed, right? But they try to get away with it because, well, you just live with them, right? You just live with them, right? And I think this type of behavior is gross, right? Because I would not treat myself this way because of, like, it doesn't. It's not saying, we're gonna say it's not nice, but it's not about being nice. It's being a decent human being, right? It's being a decent human being and looking out for the best interests of the people around you, right? And there's like, this is my values, whatever, or how I see the world. I would like to treat someone as much as well as I would treat myself, because I don't know what the heck that person is going through. I don't know what walk of life they came from, whatever. And I think they deserve it. As a human being, as humanity, seeing humanity as that, they think they deserve it just as much as I deserve it, right? And that's the type of person I am, or how I would like the type of people around me. And this is where I said this whole screening thing, a lot of people, a lot of you out there, you don't screen people very well, right? And I just wanted to maybe just break down a few things of what screening is, right? And what you should look out for with people. So if you do something, and I'm not saying you need to have it reciprocated or whatever, but it never gets reciprocated, that is a clear sign that, they're not looking at you in their best interest, in your best interest, right? And I think that if this happens a few times or a lot of times, whatever, right, you need to understand and self-reflect and see that, hey, this person is not reciprocating, something that I sought. Because this is the problem. We have expectations, thinking that, as I said before, if I treat someone good, they're going to treat me back the same way, whatever. It's not the case, right? There's some people out there that are awful. They're villains, right? And I feel very sad when people out there, people I know and love, whatever, they're almost kind of like a pushover. They do not have the backbone to be like, no. And you gotta learn how to say no, right? Then that's part of the screening. You gotta learn how to say no. If you don't know how to say no, whatever, people sense that. And it's like, well, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm gonna do, all right? And it's not even just like a human thing, it's an animal thing, Animals like to always, push their boundaries, over and over again to see if they can do that. But the thing is, if you don't stand your ground and put up these barriers, whatever, they just get trained into this type of way of thinking, This way of thinking of no, it is all right. There's no consequences to these actions, right? And that is the problem. That is a seed. It's a seed of the bad behavior and the more hideous stuff that comes out when you don't put this in motion, right? So learn how to say no, right? The other part is when you're at your lowest. When you're at your lowest, and it's gonna happen to all of us, because it's life. Life is kicking our asses right now. Let's be honest, right? And when you're at your lowest, and they decide not to be in your corner, they decide not to empathize that this thing is happening to you. They can only see themselves, and you could get chalked this up to a narcissistic person, whatever, right? But they're not seeing you as a person that can experience things, experiencing and being inflicted by things. And I think that you as a person, it is your fault to allow this behavior. It is your fault to allow that to happen to you. And you may not want to hear this, but it is. It is your fault. Sometimes there are these, situations that you're stuck living with a person or whatever, that you have to just kind of go through this thing, whatever, in order to survive, whatever. But it's half and half. It's not exactly so, right? Because if they didn't believe that they could do this thing to you, whatever, they wouldn't do it, they couldn't do it, whatever, because depending on what, wall you put up towards, because like, when I think about it, the biggest thing that you can do from a person is being, abusive, etc., right, or not having in the best interest, whatever. And this is just outside of family. I know within family or whatever, or maybe a situation you're living with someone, whatever, it's difficult. But if you're not living with the person and you don't share amenities or whatever like that, whatever, the biggest thing you can do is leave. just straight up leave, right? You don't have to go to the same place. Maybe it's a work thing. Maybe this is a co-work or whatever, right? That you're dealing with, or a boss, whatever, right? But that's not exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people that are in your life, whatever, that you do have power. You do have power to make these decisions where you can be like, you know what, I'm just not going to allow this shit to happen anymore, right? I'm just not going to let it turn into what it is, right? And I think if you get some backbone and you start respecting yourself and seeing yourself in a different light, you know, your life will get a lot. The people around you. That's another thing about this whole saying no thing, because when you learn how to say no, people will kind of respect you based off of the lines, you know, the wall that you created in order to protect yourself, because they understand over time, not immediately, they understand over time that it's like, no, he has self-respect, right? This person or she has self-respect and won't allow XYZ to happen, whatever, right? Which I think is very important. You know, it's very important to build self-respect. And when I think of, I'm going a little bit off, whatever, but when I think about young men, whatever, this is relationships in itself, whatever, right? And they get themselves in a relationship with a man, not man, they get themselves in a relationship with a woman, and they accept bad behavior from, not in the sense of like someone's got to be dominated and someone's got to be submissive, none of that crap, right? I'm talking about in the sense of this person wants to use you, right? And they allow stuff to just happen to them, right? Because, well, they didn't do the screening process, right? And I think the same thing of women as well too. If you have a person, a guy in your life, right, that is treating you a certain way that you do not like, not saying in that treating you in a way that this is like criticism or whatever, constructive criticism, because that's a completely different thing, whatever, right? Like this person could be, you know, helping you in another way, but because you took it negatively, you know, emotionally, negatively, whatever, you want to react rather than to self-reflect. And I'm not gonna really go into that part with women self-reflecting, whatever, but there are women who do, and I respect you. I really do. I really love you. I really love these type of women, and I wish there was more of these type of women in the world, right? And yes, I think that if you make that line, right, life will get a lot more better, right? Because I'm seeing not just women, but men, they get in this thing where they almost kind of like cut off their life. They cut off their life in order to zone in on this other person that is not even caring about the stuff that you need to achieve in life. You need to grow as an individual, right? And sharing times, you know, and feeling safe with another person, you know. So I don't know. This video was going on to this idea of trust, and then gone to relationships, and then gone to this a lot of other stuff. Whatever. I made a lot of stuff on my mind, right? But I just wanted to talk about, you know, the people you have close to you and the people you trust, and pay attention. Pay attention to these warning signs, you know, of they're not for me, you know. And I understand there's compromise in relationships, etc., right? But there are some things that are just red flags, right? And regardless of, you know, in a romantic relationship or as family members that you've lived with for how many years or whatever, or you're in situations where that it's very hard to live the way that you want to live. I think you need to really have a good talk with yourself and see your options. Because I'm not gonna say that, you know, I know your situation or whatever. No, that's not true. All right, your situation is gonna be uniquely to you, and I just want you to look at your options and seek help to people who actually care about you. You know, and if you can't find people that care about you, single. How do you single? Signal. Okay, so signal the people that have the same values and same beliefs as you, right? And I think it will get a lot more easier.